A faint cry cut through the still heat of the savannah. A tiny leopard cub, ribs showing beneath his spotted coat, clawed at the blackened bark of a fallen acacia tree. Sap glued his fur, sweat blinded his golden eyes, but he climbed anyway. Each yowl tore at the silence, raw, frantic, aimed toward a hollow high above, where his mother, a pregnant leopard heavy with cubs, was wedged deep inside. Her ribs barely moved. Her breaths came shallow and ragged, her golden eyes flickering between pain and fading will. The cub slipped, caught a branch, and turned his gaze downward. There, through the haze of dust and heat, stood a man. Not a poacher, not a threat, just a figure frozen mid-step. His flight jacket dust-stained, a rescue harness slung over one shoulder. Daniel Harris, once an Air Force pilot, now patrolled the reserve for stranded animals and downed travelers. He'd seen every form of desperation, but never a plea like this. The cub didn't growl, he didn't flee. He pleaded, trembling all over, as if begging for mercy from a world that never gave any. Daniel's heart clenched. His instincts screamed danger, a cornered mother, pregnant, feral. Yet the cub's eyes, wide, wet, impossibly human, burned through his caution. He moved closer. The air smelled of sap and death. The hollow in the trunk yawned like a wound carved by lightning long ago. Inside, the leopard's flanks shuddered with effort. She was stuck tight, twisted by panic. Daniel knew that look, creatures trapped between fight and surrender. She had hours left, maybe less. The cub leapt down, stumbled, then dashed straight to his boots. It bumped his leg, turned, and looked back toward the tree. Once, twice, then again. Follow me. Daniel swallowed hard. All right, little guy, I'm coming. He returned to his helicopter, fetched a hatchet, rope, gloves, old companions from years of rescues, and approached the trunk again. The sun glared off the scorched bark. He tied the rope around the base, wedged his boots for leverage, and began to hack. Each strike rang out sharp and heavy, echoing across the plain like a heartbeat refusing to quit. Wood splinters flew. Blood from his blistered palms smeared the handle. Halfway through, a deep groan trembled from within the hollow. The leopard shifted. Daniel froze, breath caught. If she lunged, it would end here, but she didn't. Her head slumped forward, too weak to fight. That trust, undeserved and unspoken, burned through him like fire. He drove the blade in deeper, prying at the crack until it split wide. The trunk gave with a deafening snap, and the leopard fell free, a blur of fur, blood, and sap, landing hard in the dust. The cub wailed and raced to her side, pressing its tiny body against her muzzle. Daniel dropped to his knees, chest heaving. The mother lay still but breathing, her sides rising shallow and slow. Then he saw it, her abdomen tightening, muscles spasming. She wasn't dying, she was in labor. Daniel tore off his jacket, spread it beneath her, cleared the ground of thorns. The cub paced and whined, pawing her side. Moments later, a slick, wriggling shape slid into his hands. Then another, and another, 4 in total, small and trembling, blind and alive. The mother, drained yet fierce, licked each one clean. With every lick, her strength returned. Daniel knelt beside them, trembling. Tears carved clean lines through the dust on his face. He'd witnessed hundreds of rescues, but nothing like this. This wasn't survival, it was grace. The firstborn cub, the one who had begged him here, padded toward him again. He hesitated, then pressed his head against Daniel's leg, softly, deliberately. Daniel's voice cracked. "You did it, little warrior. You saved her." The mother raised her head. Her eyes, molten gold, found his. No growl, no threat, just quiet understanding. For a moment, the world held still. The hum of the wind, the buzzing flies, the man and the beast breathing the same fragile air. Then Daniel stepped back, giving them space. The cub watched him go until the dust swallowed his shadow. Years passed. Daniel left the service, teaching young pilots how to fly rescue missions, how to trust the wind and fear the silence. But the savannah never left him. Some nights he would still wake to phantom cries, the sound of claws on bark, the echo of a mother's low growl. He kept that blood-stained rope coiled in his cabin, his reminder, never turn away. Then came the storm, a training flight gone wrong. Lightning cracked the sky, and his small plane plunged through a wall of rain into the forest. When he woke, his arm was torn open, ribs aching, radio dead. The smell of fuel and iron filled his lungs. Somewhere beyond the wreckage, something growled. A leopard stepped from the shadows, massive, powerful, coat glistening wet, a faint scar slashing across her shoulder. Daniel's breath hitched. No, it can't be. She approached slowly, muscles rippling beneath her golden skin. Behind her came three more, young adults, sleek and watchful. Her cubs. A hiss broke from the dark, a hyena circling. The leopard turned, snarled, a thunderclap in flesh. The hyena bolted. She spun back toward Daniel, chest heaving, then lowered her head. Her breath was warm against his hand as she sniffed his bleeding arm and gently licked the wound. Daniel trembled. His throat closed around a sound, half laugh, half sob. "You remember?" The largest of her grown cubs stepped forward and pressed his muzzle into Daniel's palm. The same gesture, years later. She stayed until he could stand. Then, without a sound, turned and walked toward the ridge. Her family followed, fading into the curtain of rain, their silhouettes dissolving into the mist. Daniel stood there, drenched, trembling not with fear, but awe. The storm had passed, but inside him something older had returned. The pulse of the wild, the echo of that first cry. Weeks later, back at his outpost, he developed the footage from his flight recorder. Grainy images emerged, a leopard's scarred shoulder, lightning flashing behind her, four shapes in the shadows. He pinned it beside another photo, the one from years ago, a mother and her newborns beneath the split acacia. Under them, he wrote, "I saved her once. She saved me back." He leaned back, eyes misty. The wild he knew didn't deal in coincidences. It dealt in trust, in debts that only hearts understand. And when he looked out over the horizon, he swore he could see her watching from the ridge, the queen of the jungle, keeper of a promise. Because sometimes, when you save a life, the wild remembers. And sometimes, it comes back to save you. If this story touched you, even for a moment, don't forget to hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that kindness still exists. And subscribe to the channel for more real heart-pounding wildlife stories. Your support helps us bring more powerful moments from the wild to life. So, tap that subscribe, ring the notification bell, and let's keep spreading compassion, one story at a time.